And welcome to the Midday Show. I am Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. July 19th, 2022. Mastriano it's kind of like being back in high school. He went to his social media. He deleted some videos. I have some questions for you. I don't know how much you've dug into
I have
this.
not.
I have questions for you because I find it very, very fascinating. You and I compare politics all the time to like the cafeteria, like student council campaign stuff. The deleting videos off of social media. I am ready for this debate with you. I think it's very, very interesting. You wanted to lay out the options for Williamsport School Board tonight. They have a meeting following everything that's happened. And then I'm going to try to convince you. I sent you a video of someone showing celebrity flights and comparing it to his daily recycling, essentially. And I'm going to try to convince you again that personal recycling is a waste of your time. So that's what we'll end the show with, a little debate there. Mark, before we get to all of that, how are you feeling today?
The third part of the show is going to be tough for me because it's you are going to we're like attorneys going into court. You've shown me your evidence. You're going to present a strong case, and I'm going to have to rebut it. And it's going to be a challenge.
You don't have to rebut it. You could join.
No, I do.
You could cross lines and actually join the good
you're
side.
Just, now I can't, but it's, I should. Maybe I should, but I can't.
Okay, we'll get to that point. Before we get to Mastriano's move, the board meeting and the recycling, anything, because you've been hitting me with stats lately. You've been hitting me with weather.
You want baseball stats?
You've been throwing stuff at me left and right. Do you have anything that you want to get out before we start today's show?
Juan Soto, who just won the home run derby, turned down $440 million.
Okay.
He was offered $440 million. Turned it down.
Okay.
Which to me makes it sound like he hates Washington because that's where he's at. He's a national.
Yeah.
Jerry, our beloved cohort, tried to explain to me why he turned down $440 million. And all I kept saying was, it seems like a lot of money to me. He must not like it there. And then he's like, well, he'll make more and he'll do this. And it's over 13 years and arbitration and blah, blah. It's like, all I know is $440 million is a lot of money. He must not like it in Washington.
No, I mean, that's probably very true. I brought up the baseball stats because I have a baseball stat for you.
I'm ready.
Ohtani, who we've talked about on the show and why he's not more popular outside of like really big baseball circles, right? Did you see the statistic? He now has the lowest ERA against hitters. There's a specific number of
with
hitters.
runners in scoring position or something? I saw that.
Since 1970
He's
something.
Killing it.
Crushing it. And then on the flip side, he also has the highest batting percentage with runners in scoring position since 1970 something.
It was something, I saw the stat. It was either batting average or slugging percentage or something.
I think it was batting average with runners in scoring position.
That's why he's on a roll.
So this is the crazy part. In the last 50 years, he is the best pitcher and the best hitter.
Well, for 3 months.
I'm just saying.
It's not his life. It's the beginning of the season.
You're the problem because he should be bigger than what he is. I'm not even a baseball person, and I'm like, I can't believe more people don't.
Well,
that's a ridiculous stat.
Here's the problem with Ohtani.
You're like defending you're almost arguing against the stat, and the stat that I just told you is absurd. It's better than any stat you've ever told me on this show.
Stop it. No. So, here, and this
Can I just rephrase it one more time? Because you say no. He is the best pitcher and the best hitter in the league in the last 50 years when runners are in scoring position. And you're going to try to explain to me how it's an understated stat. Go ahead.
No, it's not. But this is why.
Okay.
And as crazy and as stupid as this is, he doesn't speak English.
Okay.
So he doesn't give interviews.
Mm-hmm.
He gives interviews through an interpreter.
Mm-hmm.
That is not.
Yao Ming did for a while. And then Yao kind of had some broken English, and people loved Yao Ming.
They loved Yao Ming as a novelty. Yao Ming was never the best player in the league.
No, but he was an all-star. I mean, he was a legitimate.
And Ohtani's an all-star. They love him.
Yeah.
But
I feel like people genuinely.
The other thing, too, is his team sucks.
Yeah, I guess.
And that's if they were a front runner if you talked about seeing Ohtani in the World Series,
Mm-hmm.
then there would be this aura to it. He's the guy. He's when Russell Westbrook was going triple-double every night, but nobody thought they were any good.
I think he's a way bigger deal than Yao Ming. I think he's a bigger deal than Jeremy Lin. I think he's like, when I go through Asian athletes,
absolutely.
I think he's a way bigger deal than all of them. And I would argue like he hasn't peaked to the point that Jeremy Lin did for a couple of months. He certainly isn't more popular than Yao Ming was throughout his career yet. Like, I just don't get
him and Ichiro are the two.
I just don't get it.
Him and Ichiro, because they suck. They're under 500. They've expanded the playoffs. They're not even in the hunt. You know, they lost $1 million in a row. They fired the manager. They still lose.
He's incredible. He makes me excited to talk about baseball. And I don't like
the fact that he is on Mike Trout's team and
Mhm.
they can't win. It just shows you the rest of the roster.
Yeah, no, it's pretty brutal. Mastriano's move. I wanted to talk to you about this because this is interesting. Doug Mastriano, he's backed by Donald Trump, for those who don't know. It was recently reported that he deleted numerous controversial videos and posts from his social media accounts. The trend was initially reported by the Philadelphia Inquirer on Monday. The outlet found that Mastriano had deleted 14 videos from his Facebook account over the past 3 months. I'm like, the stats and the fact that somebody had to be watching this.
Oh my gosh!
You can't not. It doesn't make a ton of sense. The topics of videos varied, but often featured the Republican candidate discussing controversial topics, including conspiracy theories and butting heads with other right-wing lawmakers. There's more like quotes to the story, but that's like the basis of the story. To me, I go back and forth on it. I really believe in transparency, especially in elections. I believe that we are desperate for candidates that say what they mean and don't fold from it or try to hide it. So on that hand, I totally get why people are distraught about this. On the other hand of it, though, like, I can't wrap my head around the idea that like these are social media videos that like it almost sounds like high school drama where it's like, well, Sally posted this video on Tuesday and then it was down on Thursday after her boyfriend started. Like, it's bonkers to me. So I went back and forth all morning trying to decide, does this matter? And so I lend it over to you.
Oh, well, of course it matters, because it either shows immaturity, as you said, from the high school side of it, that I'm going to post. Was he drunk posting? Like,
No.
that's my first thought. Like, is he throwing stuff up?
Because my understanding reading through this, most of the videos are like interviews, campaign videos. Like, they aren't just like him talking in front of the phone.
Then why is he taking them down?
I don't know. I think a lot
That's
of it
the
is
million-dollar
I think a
question.
lot of it is because of the controversial topic. I found myself asking this. I think most candidates do a sweep of their social media and their accounts before they get going. And they essentially say, like, if this does not fall exactly in a line of what I want to say, we are getting rid of this. I find it hard to believe that most politicians don't do that.
I do. Have you ever
do?
unposted a video off a social media feed?
I have, yes.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've like reset my social media, especially like going into teaching. Like when you get out of college, like you just wipe your social media.
Oh, that's true, because you were young and dumb.
So
Who knows what you post? Speaking of drunk posting, there's Jeff.
So that's kind of the point I'm making is like, I have probably in my life reset my social media twice. And when I say reset it, I mean like wiped it clean, started from scratch.
Considering Doug Mastriano hasn't been in college in 30 years.
Well, no, but I understand that. But what I'm saying though is you don't think most candidates are doing an audit and a clean sweep of their social media stuff before. And so the point that I'm getting to, this is the point I was going to say to you. I think most candidates at some point have deleted a video or something else, but it's not this deep into the process. Like the part that fascinates me is them sitting around and we're like inching closer and closer to the day. And now they're like, we probably need to get rid of some of this stuff.
I can't imagine, like, what are they posting that they need to get rid of?
So here's an example of.
So let's just water this down to a normal. Do you think Jamie Flick had to go on his social media and delete anything before? My answer is no.
No,
because what would Jamie Flick have posted that now was so controversial that he, as an adult, then don't post it in the first place.
This is why I want to read them to you, because I'm curious if you think all of these are necessarily like controversial, or like if you were advising Mastriano, would you have told him like we need to take these down? So some of these included. So he talked about the fight to end abortion. He called it the most important issue of our lifetime in the video, the fight to end abortion. He said, heck, the weatherman can't get the weather right 24 hours out regarding climate change when he was debating whether or not climate change was real or not.
Okay.
So those are like two of the main examples with quotes from the videos that this article lends
So why
to.
Why do you take him down then? Does he
I
not
don't
believe him?
know. That's a great question. That's what I'm. That's
the question.
Yes.
The question is, if you were ballsy enough to put him up, then who took your balls away that you had to take him down?
I think probably analytics, probably his team. Like, this is the point I'm
Then
making.
that's the sad thing. Then you can't run. If you're that cowardly, then you can't run.
Well, I'm on the outside. To me, it sounds like his team failed him. Because again, if you're not like auditing and clean sweeping this stuff before now, then like what are you doing?
And I get that. You're looking at it from a logistical side of like having your ducks in a row before you start.
I'm looking at it from the integrity. Well, but see, I'm looking at it from the perspective of like most of the people in my life that are my age or lower have deleted videos off of social media.
He's not your age, though.
I understand that, but that's not the point I'm making.
I've never deleted a video off my
yes. So again, those are the two different viewpoints. And that's the point. That's the debate I'm having with you is like, to some people, like him taking this stuff off of social media is just like a blatant disrespect of transparency to the campaign. And it's him trying to backtrack.
Yes.
But you also have this other side of it where I like totally relate to deleting stuff off of social media because it's social media. Like it's my. It's your personal account.
I do get the point that I get the point that you're making, but it's like having an argument with someone who says something, and then you say, "What did you say?" And then they won't say it again.
Yeah,
and they won't repeat it. Like, well, if you meant it that much to take, it doesn't just jump on social media. If you actually put it there, then mean what you put there. And if you are going to be this person of such high political power, you can't be that wishy-washy.
I think I agree with you. Like, this was the part of it, like, as I was going through half the videos, I was kind of like, that's brutal, that's rough, like, I disagree. The other half of the videos, like, he doesn't say things in a way that I would like to say them, but, like, you and I have had the global warming discussion. You think it's a bigger deal than I think it is. And like to say, heck, the weatherman can get something right every 24 hours. I actually found that like in a ways funny. So
well, see, that's the thing.
So then my whole thing, like agreeing with you was, why would you take that video down? I don't even know if it's that awful.
See, and I agree with that.
Yes.
So whoever told him to take it down, he could have looked at him and said, no, I'm not taking that down. That's funny. Or he could have said, okay, whatever you say. And that is not leadership. Like, that's not the guy you want steering the ship.
Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I was looking at it all morning. I literally got to see some of the videos. I was going through the quotes and everything else. And I kept going back and forth of this. At some point, I guess this is what I'm saying. I think that there's an older faction who try to act as if social media isn't the end all be all. It's not real life. Like, your real life matter. What you say in the real world matters more than what you say on social media. And like, but then I feel like right now, some of those same people are losing their mind that he deleted these videos. And so for me, like, even though I disagree with the prospect of deleting them, like I am for transparency and what you say matters, I'm also kind of like, you can't have it both ways. Like, if you're one of those people that doesn't believe a politician's social media account matters, then you can't, now when he deletes the videos, you can't act as if like, he had it on his social media.
And just because I've never deleted anything, like I don't post videos when I don't, but just because I've never done it, I'm sure there are examples where people said maybe it didn't, either they didn't have all the facts, or in looking back, they're like, that probably wasn't the best thing to post, or I bothered someone, I offended someone I didn't mean to offend, or something like that, and I'll take it down.
Sure.
I can imagine that. Not 13 of them. Yeah. If it's 13, then you're just reckless.
Yeah. Some different angles on this. The irony, because he's backed by Donald Trump. Most people view him as like a Trump candidate. the irony, because to me, this is something Donald Trump would never do. Would never do. So there's a little bit of irony with that, like him kind of being like this Trump run.
If they told Trump to take it down, he would put up a tweet and say, I'm not taking it down.
Absolutely. He would double down on most of it. So there's a little bit of irony there that as I was reading through it kind of cracked me up a little bit. So yeah, so that's the Mastriano issue. We'll see where it goes and where it heads. But I found it to be an interesting discussion.
It is. I agree with you.
Williamsport area school board meetings tonight. You wanted to kind of lay out some of the options. We had Jason Fitzgerald on earlier, about a month ago? Maybe a little sooner.
It would have been, because it was the day last time. It was the day of the school board meeting was when the charges dropped. So I think Jason was in the next day.
Yeah. It's probably about a month ago. So I'm going to pass the floor over to you. You I don't know if you said something, you don't necessarily want to lay out their options, but you did want to lay out kind of what a response could look like and what you think it should look like. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And I'm trying to pull up my information. Because obviously they have more than one issue up on the Hill with teachers and inappropriate relationships with students. And last time, I guess at the school board meeting last time, a principal, got charged with having an inappropriate relationship with a minor. And I guess it wasn't mentioned at the meeting. I don't think the meeting was incredibly quick, like 20 minutes, wasn't mentioned. And they put out a statement that said, a written statement, I think, because the statement came the next day, because when we were on the air, there was still no statement made. They said, we're not talking about it at the meeting. That was their statement at the meeting. We're not talking about it. Then the statement came out and said, the safety and well-being of our students is our first priority. Should any student wish to speak to a counselor, counseling services will be available by appointment only by calling a certain number. So I guess we've seen, didn't you say there's going to be 2 sessions of public comment tonight?
So according to the minutes, they're proposing that there's 2 different. One is supposed to be at the beginning. One is supposed to be at the end. So it allows them to add things to the agenda before final comments.
Okay. So here's my advice for the Williamsport school board and higher ups on how to handle it tonight. Do not ignore the elephant in the room. You cannot just walk in and throw a blanket statement and say, we're not talking about it. Now, during public comment, everyone's going to talk about it. But you can't just be like, our counsel told us not to. Okay. When you go into this, there is only, if they do that, if they make no public statement or make some cookie cutter lawyer written up statement, then they should all just turn in their keys on the way out. And they should just, like, that's it. You can't handle this. Because this is tough. And this is where leadership comes in. And this is going to be hard. But just clamming up and circling the wagons is not the answer. We will find out what is their number one priority. Is the number one priority the students, or is the number one priority covering their own asses? And it can't be both. You can't have 2 number one priorities. And if the number one priority is anyone who gets into education, the number one priority should be the students. You would think. If it's not, I don't know what you're doing in education. But they need to come out and encourage other students who have been affected or assaulted or whatever to come forward. Don't do it with, call this number and we'll schedule an appointment. Like, that just makes it sound, I know they were trying, but it makes it sound too red tape-ish. Like, you call, we'll make an appointment, we'll see what works with your schedule. Just give them a hotline to call, or have an open forum meeting, or whatever the case may be. But their job right now should be to support any other students who have been possibly assaulted, possibly coerced, or groomed, or whatever the case may be, to come forward. And you can't, and in doing so, just like if you've seen the movie Spotlight, just like when we saw with the Sandusky case, just like we saw with the gymnastics dude out at Michigan State, there are probably more, there could be way more And here's the other aspect. Because of involvements in other communities like local churches, it may not just be students from Williamsport. It may be students from other communities. But again, if you're involved in education, you don't just care about your students, you care about students. So their number one priority needs to be to support any kids who have been affected or abused or whatever, and how to get them support and help. That should be their number one. If they don't, if they come out and give some curt, solicitor written statement, and their MO is clear that says we are just circling the wagons and protecting us, then it is going to look bad and the public is going to be pissed. And they have to know this going in. You have to be sincere and upfront. And I understand there's lots of things they probably can't say, either because they don't know or legally they're not allowed to discuss it. But say that and talk about the things you can talk about. And the things you can talk about is what you're going to do for the students. And the people who are lost through all of this are the other faculty members. Because right now, I can only imagine if I'm a teacher at Williamsport, if I'm at one of the other schools, like the middle school or one of the elementary schools, the first thing I'm saying in every conversation is, don't look at me, I'm not up on the hill. But now you've got all the teachers who are up on the hill. There's more teachers up on the hill than any other school district because there's so many students. So now there's such a dark cloud over the Williamsport High School right now that, like, somewhere in it, they have to feel for the other teachers, because they've kind of been, I don't want to say there's guilt by association because we're not that, but they have to do what's right by the other teachers too. And just like shutting up isn't helping them either. So just be sincere. I mean, obviously no one wanted this to happen. They didn't encourage it to happen. But now that it's happened, there's still the feeling throughout the community that whatever happened at Myrtle Beach, everyone just clammed up. And we only have, there's an investigation in South Carolina, and it doesn't seem like, it seemed like everyone clammed up in that. And so far, Williamsport has not been very forthcoming with this. Even just say, we're helping the investigation as much as we can. And if they're really helping the investigation, they may unearth more students. By helping the investigation, there may be administrators that are actually helping themselves towards the exit, because at the end of the day, I can't believe somebody's not going to be the fall guy for this. But if you're putting the students first, then that's your job. It's like the captain. Sometimes the captain does go down with the ship, and you fill the life rafts with women and children, understanding there's no life raft for you. If that, like, they have to help the kids first, understanding that there are probably more kids that have come forward so far, and kids that are just scared. There, I'm off my soapbox.
No, it's well said. I wish, like, I want to have a conversation, but honestly, it's well said. I don't have much more to add to it. So you did well. I knew that you had something kind of laid out and you had something you wanted to say. So that was very well done. I just don't
understand how things come out. Like, I was very critical of Biden the night that he won, because he didn't, of how he handled it. And he should have talked about divided Americans, talked about 50% of America's pissed right now that I won. And I get it. And we have to get past that to heal, instead of being like, look at us, we won. And I can't believe that they went to the last meeting. I wish I remembered what exactly was said, but they, like, no comment. Like, they kind of forcefully said no comment. And, like, you have to comment. And again, now I'm just repeating myself because I'm just rambling. But everyone with a brain understands you can't talk. Like, if the answer is we don't know, then that's fine. But just sincerely say we don't know. Or there's stuff of the investigation we can't talk about. But there's lots of things you can say, and they need to say those things.
Yeah, very well done. Tonight, 6 o'clock, Williamsport School Board meeting. That's all I have to say.
I assume it's at the high school. It's probably in the auditorium.
I'm not sure. On the cover of it, it just says Board of Directors meeting. It does not actually have the.
It doesn't have the location.
Not on the actual minutes, but I don't know if the minutes usually list.
Because sometimes it's at the middle school.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's at I have to believe they're expecting a crowd.
It's school board meetings are funny. Sometimes you think things are going to happen and they don't. Sometimes you think there's going to be a crowd and there isn't. Sometimes you're expecting nothing and all of a sudden the room's full. You just never know with school board meetings.
What?
You really don't.
There's going to be a half dozen media outlets there tonight, don't you think?
I would assume, but again, I think that's the point I'm trying to make to you. I have learned to never assume I know what's about to happen at a school board meeting. I'm with you. It just very rarely goes the way I expect them to go.
I can't believe, and I do get that point. You make a good point there. I can't believe on a Tuesday night in July that there's more understanding what they're going through right now, that it was a principal. And it was a just promoted principal of it. It wasn't one of the, but I can't believe there's going to be at least 2 television cameras there. I can tell you, I know which ones that are going to be there. And then how many other outlets are going to be there. I would, off the top of my head, I know of 5 that will be there. Okay. And I can't believe there won't be more.
2 different viewers are saying that it's going to be at the district service center.
I don't know where that is. Where is the district?
Are you going?
Or
are you like trying to encourage people to go? Just trying to clarify why you're so concerned about the address.
Oh, just in case people want to go.
People want to go too.
Because I showed up at the school board meeting at Matoursville once, and I showed up and I was like, where is everyone? Because they used to be here, but then I found out that and it was just like the last time I was at a school board meeting was how many years ago, and it was here. Yeah. And there's no one in the parking lot.
Right.
And then I drove to another one, but I found out that when they think there's going to be a really big crowd, they move it to a bigger room, and it was another building. So, I don't know if I will be there tonight. I'm fascinated by the results. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I don't have a kid at Williamsport, so I don't live in Williamsport, so I don't know. But there's lots of people in Williamsport who I would suspect care.
Yeah. Are you ready for the main debate? What did you miss?
There's a chance. What time is it?
It is 1 o'clock.
There's a chance there's going to be a parking ticket on my car now.
Do you want to wrap up the show, or do you want to go into recycling? This feels like you're trying to dodge the recycling conversation.
No. I'm ready for this. I'm ready. I will pay my $5 for the recycling. Because if you get a ticket and you pay it within the first 24 hours,
it's only $5.
It is recycling. So people, give me
I sent you
maybe they're on lunch.
I sent you a video last night. Full disclaimer. You and I debate recycling quite a bit. Probably once a week, recycling gets brought up. Is that fair to say?
Because and this is what's crazy. I'm born in the big city. Uh-huh. You were born on the farm.
Okay.
Yet I am the tree hugger of the group.
Sure. So let's just lay out our sides. I think personal recycling is a waste of the individual's time until larger organizations, corporations, yada, 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 decide to actually give a crap. And until then, I'm just not recycling my aluminum can.
I totally get your point.
You don't necessarily think I'm an idiot, but you do think I'm snobby and it's not that difficult to do your part and just throw the can in.
Yes, those are both. From the mathematics part, it is really challenging to argue your point if you're trying to sound intelligent.
No,
I just had the same. You weren't even here. I just had the same conversation with Julie the other day there, and she started rattling off statistics about these mega corporations.
It's crazy,
and how much. And I was almost like it's like I'm talking to Jeff, and he's not even here.
It's insane.
So from a mathematics standpoint, you make a great case. From my argument is I'm this little drink, and there's no reason I can't recycle it. It doesn't take that much effort. It also makes you feel good, like you're doing your part.
Sure. You can wrap your head around that. I struggle to wrap my head around that. So I sent you a video last night. There was a gentleman on TikTok, and what he does is he follows celebrity flights. So there's an app that you can get on, and you can actually track private jets, private planes. And once you know, Kendall Jenner's plane is, XYZ 123, whatever, you can basically just see where she flies. And what he did was he got on and he just followed a couple of the celebrities. One was, I believe, Kendall Jenner. One was Mike Tyson.
No, wasn't it Floyd Mayweather?
Okay, Floyd Mayweather, and then I can't remember who
This
the other.
is Floyd
There
Mayweather.
you
While
go.
my head was thinking, I was like, no, it's not Tyson, it's the other.
And now I can't remember who the other one is. But what he found following these celebrity fights is, like, Kendall Jenner takes a 3-minute flight from one side of Los Angeles to the other side of Los Angeles multiple times a week.
Yes.
Like, just gets on. And his whole point was like, you want me to worry about the turtles, but Kendall Jenner's taking a 3-minute flight in a private jet from one side of LA to the other. At one point, he talks about Floyd Mayweather literally does a loop around Houston and almost lands back to where he is. And he does this almost weekly.
Well, he said he had a 20-minute flight. No, it was a 10-minute flight,
Yes.
which would have been a 20-minute drive.
Yes.
But he had to make a loop because he couldn't land on time.
Right.
So by the time he got there, it was Jack Nicklaus.
Yes. Oh, that's what. And he essentially says, like, yeah, let me go, like, throw my aluminum can in the recycling while Jack Nicklaus is just, like, looping in the air above Houston.
He went all over the world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He went from here to here to here to here to here, and he's like, what are we doing?
It's insane. So
No,
even just, like, I always put the blame on major corporations, major organizations, all this stuff. But there is, like, a 1%er argument here of, if you just look at the lifestyles, the day-to-day lifestyles of 1%ers, I mean, it doesn't matter what you and I do on an individual level. It's not going to be the difference.
It doesn't matter what you and I do, but you've got 1%ers, so you've got the other 99%.
Mm-hmm.
And if the other 99% do their part, then the world is still a better place.
I get that. How many aluminum cans do you think you and I need to recycle to offset one of Kendall Jenner's flights?
11.
You think so? You think that's all it takes is 11 aluminum cans?
Maybe 2 dozen.
Okay.
No, I don't.
And remember,
but I do get your point.
Remember, the next day she's going to make.
She's going to do it again.
So we got to keep matching it every.
Yeah,
and that's just to offset Kendall Jenner's plane.
I don't even drink that much soda.
No, I don't know if the world drinks enough soda to offset the 1%'s private flights.
I mean, again, it's hard to make an intelligent math man. I was a math major. You just can't. I can't mathematically win. It's more of a philosophical.
Yeah. The best part of the video, and you brought this up today, I think he was talking about Jack Nicholson flying over the ocean, and he's like, F the turtles.
Yeah. He's like, the turtles.
The turtles.
They're screwed.
We're going to save the turtles? This guy's flying back and forth over the ocean when he feels like it.
It is funny. And he's not, like, he's just a normal, he's not this polished, shirt and tie speaker.
He's me.
He is just a normal schmo
getting on his phone.
And he seems so genuinely dismayed. Yes. Like, the turtles. You're worried about the turtles? The turtles are dead.
You can't help the turtles. And
anyway.
again, like, that's just their, like, and again, I'm not mad at any of those three people. Like, it is what it is. Like,
because if that was you, you'd fly. You'd fly over to get lunch.
Listen, until regulation deems that, like, this is bull crap, like, why would I be upset at these people for, like, doing this stuff? Like, it is what it is.
No, I get it.
But there is, like, even just, that's just their planes. So you start to think about, like, the parties and the housing and, like, the energy. No, I mean, the energy use of just one of their houses. I don't know.
Remember when we talked about the other day, and the longer I talk, the greater my chances of getting a parking ticket are going up. Do you remember when we were talking about, like, wealthy people and how much, like, how hard it would be for them to, like, have a good time? And,
yes.
And just. And how just like a bunch of us sitting around with our buddies watching the game is like, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being that spoiled is probably not the right word, but I guess that if you're going from here to the other end of town, that you'd have to take a plane because
there's a desperation to fame. There is a desperation of, like, there has to be more. There has to be something better. Like, I'm bored. Like, what's the next thing? Like, how do we go one up from what we just did? I don't know if you saw, Dave Chappelle has been releasing a ton of stuff on Netflix lately because he's been winning these, like, Lifetime Achievement Awards, and they just renamed an art school in New York City, I think, or no, in DC after him. He won the Mark Twain Humor Award, which is, like, the largest award you can win in humor. So anyway, in that, he talks about why he turned down the Chappelle Show deal. Because I think it was worth like 50 million. It was some absurd offer. And he turned it down and he went to Africa. And now he lives in this little town in Ohio.
He lives in Ohio, yes.
Yes. Just like a run-of-the-mill, middle-class, blue-collar town in Ohio. And he, in some of these recent shows, he talks about that idea of like being grounded and not forgetting where he came from. And like he brings people to him instead of him kind of going out. And his whole pitch on that is what you're bringing up. Like that idea of like, once you're on that belt, like once you're on that loop, there is no end to it. Like you are never going to stop chasing your own tail, essentially.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think for a lot of these celebrities, like if you're going to the Super Bowl on Sunday, like what are you doing Monday? Like, how are you, like, what are you doing? What's the next thing? And it just, the only way to do that is to be on a plane flying around chasing the next best thing.
No, I'm with you. And yeah, that would be, I couldn't imagine the world where
I wonder if sometimes too the world feels small, and I wonder how that changes your perspective of fun. Because to me, the world is huge. I mean, like
no,
I've never been across the ocean. I've been to islands. I've been to Canada. Like
right.
I've been outside of the States, but I've never been across the pond. Like if you're somebody that just like in a whim, you can decide you're going to do this in Italy, and then you're going to do this in California, and then you're going to South. Like it just, the world must get smaller and smaller. And at some point you must just be so desperate to find that feeling again of like awe or like amusement. I mean, it's got to be hard. I'm not like, I know I'm switching my tone.
No, but that was well said. Like to find the feeling of awe when, because you're right, for these people that are that rich, the Kendall Jenners, the Floyd Mayweathers, like the world to them is like a food court. I can either go here, I can go here, I can go here.
Imagine
like
the first time Floyd Mayweather walked out to like a title fight in the crowd. And imagine the goosebumps and the feelings he must have felt.
Right.
Now imagine 20 years later him trying to find it.
He can't get it again.
He can't find it.
That's why I've always said that rock bands in their I saw Kiss on their farewell tour in like 1996. Mm-hmm. And they're still out.
Yeah.
Because, and I was like, I understand they're tired. They, I've done this my whole life. I don't want to do it again. But then if you've just played to the crowd your whole life, you miss the crowd. And after you get home for 6 months and you're bored, you're like, hey, maybe we should tour one more time.
This might be a good way to like tie it all together and wrap it up. And I'm very aware that there are things bigger than high school sports. I can't obviously we just talked about Mastriano and the Williamsport. Like there's things bigger than high school sports. But I'm constantly telling our guys, like, you're going to chase this feeling for the rest of your life. And what I mean by that is like, not that they're going to be obsessed with high school sports, not that they'll get into coaching, or not that they'll never leave their hometown, but like whether it's business or love or like whatever it is, the feeling that you get right now playing in like a big game, I promise you're going to chase that feeling. You don't know it right now. Like you don't realize it, but the things that you look most forward to in your life when you graduate from high school is going to be chasing that same feeling.
There was a guy, now I'm trying to think, because I didn't know we'd be going down. Who told me this? And I'm going to have no names. I can't even remember who told me the story, but it was someone who went to high school with a guy. Now, this was an older guy. This was a guy like in his 60s, I think. It wasn't even my age. And he went to high school with a guy who was a stud at Penn State.
Okay.
Like not an NFL stud, but like got tryouts with NFL teams. So he was one of Penn State's best players. Mm-hmm. And he told him, there's nothing like Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
He said, as much as, you get to Penn State, you got, you're a freshman, this guy's coming and this guy's going and all this stuff. And he's like, when you're in high school, you're playing with some of these kids you went to kindergarten with.
Right.
And he's like, there was nothing more fun than playing on Friday nights with my buddies. It was more fun doing that than it was playing in front of, and back then it was probably only 90,000 people at Penn State. But, and as you say that to a lot of people, they couldn't imagine. But it is, because you played college sports and I played college sports. There is a difference between playing with your lifelong friends than there is playing with someone who lives in that dorm over there who and
I've had alumni come home and they have said that like we ruined it for them because like they'll never be able to duplicate playing with their friends, playing for a small community, like big district and state level games. And then they go to college and they're playing in front of 20 people that they don't know and they don't really care about. And they've said like, you, like, in a way, like, you guys have ruined my college experience because I will never find that where I'm going.
And I will say, out of like, when I played college football at Susquehanna, there were kids who liked college football more than high school football because they came from a bad program.
Because it was a different experience.
They were 3-7.
Sure.
They were, they had 2 different coaches in their 3 years while they were playing. And it was, but yes, if you came from a good program and played with your friends and, then I'm with you. I'm with you.
Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com for all of your local news.
I have to go feed the meter.
I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Don't recycle that bottle on your way out. We'll see you
I don't have time. I don't have time.